Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the sessions. I'm Cynthia Garrett. I actually think that since if you've been around the last few weeks, you know that we have been hanging with the Wilsons. So I think I'm going to change the name of the show to Hanging with the Wilsons. But it's true. You know, we started out a few episodes ago with Darren Wilson and his daughter, Serenity Wilson, who's here on the couch today. But we've been taking a journey through parenting and through all things teenager and how to navigate this together in the world that we live in today, because I know that we all want to be successful parents, whether we're biological parents, adoptive parents, or just big brothers and sisters to someone who's younger than us. And I know as young people watching, you want to figure out if it's cool to have faith, if it's normal to have faith, how do you have faith? When do you have faith? What does that mean, and what does it look like at 17? So over there on piano is Christina Reynolds, and right here is Serenity Wilson, and we're gonna pick up here where we left off last week with a question, Christina, that you had to kind of bring this around.
Yeah, so as you were sharing just the last few sessions, I'm just sitting here going, how do I create an environment for my children that when they get to your age, when they get to 14, 15, where they have to start owning their own faith, how do I create a safe context and environment where they feel like they can start owning it for themselves and discovering and exploring, you know?
Yeah, well, for sure. It's definitely as simple as just opening that conversation up, because I know a lot of kids don't even realize that. It's just natural for them to just ride the coattails and that's what should happen, you know what I mean? Like, there should be that learning, growing, like raising them up in the way they should go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, there needs to come that time where, and honestly, this happens with adults too, you know what I mean? Like, their faith might not be their own, maybe it's their pastor's faith, maybe it's their spouse's faith, maybe it's like a sibling or a mentor's faith, you know what I mean, that they're just hanging on to. And
So good.
how I feel like for me the tell is when you can't just be alone with him. You know what I mean? There has to be another source, you know what I mean? Like, you need to be able to be alone with God without like a preaching on your computer, without the Bible sometimes even, you know what I mean? Without like that mentor there, without that prayer buddy there. Like, if you can't handle being alone with him, then
That's so
really
good. You know, because I was telling you, I started telling you guys a story earlier about my niece, Summer. And you know Summer, you guys are friends, and you know Summer, you know?
I've met her once.
Yeah, and Summer, I remember a point in high school, she's in her second year of college now, but there was a point around junior year of high school, which is around the time you said in the last episode, is when kids kind of start to figure out if mommy and daddy's faith is your faith.
Yeah.
And my husband and I were always the faith couple in her life. And she was like, I need to have a long talk with you. And we had the most beautiful conversation one evening when she came to us and she said, you know, for the longest time, because you're kind of like auntie hero to me, your faith was my faith.
Yeah.
And anything that you guys said, I just believed it. I was a kid, and I knew it was right because you were telling me it was right.
Yeah.
She said, but something happened recently where this faith is now becoming my own relationship with God. And I just started crying because I don't think enough kids realize that we really don't want to control your life away. We really just want to feel comfortable and safe that you have embraced this faith, that we know it will be a rock through your life, you know? So yeah, just it's makes me think about my kind of next question for you, which is, why does it seem like it's really hard for kids to find it cool to be a Christian in the world we live in today?
yeah. Well, it's hard, you know what I mean? And it takes a lot of like self-awareness of what you need. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, like, I mean, I have kind of stepped off of that path and not like just not been in communication with my church friends, and I've lived that life without Christianity, you know what I mean? And like, I have, like, it was, my parents had no idea, you know what I mean? It was something I kept separate from them. And it's so essential. It's so necessary, you know what I mean? You don't realize that you need it until it's gone, you know what I mean? And so, I mean, you can go down that path and see how that works out for you. But I mean, if there's anything you can take away, it's that, like, it's a part of who you are. When you accept Christ, You know what I mean? Like my parents, like when like I was little, you know, because like growing up in a Christian household, you kind of accept Jesus like pretty young. They explained to me like you ask him to come live inside you, and he's with you always.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So living, especially like through middle school and high school and college, like he's always with you. You know what I mean? And in life, you know what I mean? That's just a basic principle of Christianity. But it's really hard, I think, for a lot of kids, because what is considered cool in high school is people who don't care. You know what I mean? And are just like wild and crazy. And I know a lot of really popular kids who are really smart and like very excel in school. But when they're not in school, they just don't care about anything.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And they just like let loose and like fun, loud. And a lot of people, I mean, a lot of my friends who aren't Christians kind of see, like I've opened up that conversation before, and they kind of see Christians as just uptight, like hypocritical, legalistic. And I feel like that's a big reason why a lot of people kind of judge the church.
Right.
And like, of course, everyone on this earth is a hypocrite in one way or another. You know what I mean? It's something. It's hard to avoid. You know what I mean? And that's kind of our goal, is just to stay true to what we believe. But so that's a thing in high school, especially, is everyone just kind of wants to be carefree, and Christianity is not like carefree. You know what I mean? It's not just do whatever you want all the time.
Interesting. So they want to live without what they perceive to be boundaries, and Christianity seems to have boundaries.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you know, it's fun. But boundaries are there to protect you.
Do you think high schoolers know that? Like
No.
all the rules, like
No.
rule breakers in high school and
Yeah.
kids in general, you know what I mean? Like a lot changes when you understand that things you might not understand are there to protect you.
Yeah. So I mean, look, there are other kids like you, right? Who are awake. They're real. They get the struggle. And they're planted in these situations where they're in the world, but they're not of the world.
God bless them.
God bless them. But what can you guys do, kids like you, to really be the light that shines in the darkness?
Opening up conversations. There have been so many nights like where we'll just have a big group, like girls sleepover. You know what I mean? And like, of course, like it's weird because none of them have been asked these questions before. You know what I mean? They grew up in secular homes, most of them. And so when you ask like self-awareness questions,
Wow.
it's strange for them. You know what I mean? And there's a lot there to unpack, you know what I mean? So like as a leader in that situation, you know what I mean? There's just open up the conversation.
So what would you open a conversation with, let's say with your girlfriends
Yeah.
who are maybe are not believers, and you're all having a sleepover?
Yeah. I would honestly just ask them like, what are some things you guys are like struggling with right now? Like how are things going at home? Like how are things with your parents?
Well, you're taking the lead.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, no, yes. And like they always like they're very happy to talk. And another thing is like some of my girlfriends, they like I'll hear about if they take like drinking or like smoking and they take it just too far. And like I can see something's wrong. You know what I mean? Like they're not doing that to have fun, they're doing that to escape.
Drugs are literally just a consequence of something else going on.
It's a coping mechanism. That's all it is.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Like your kid, if your kid is smoking or drinking consistently, they're not just a vigilante that's just a sinful, wretched human being. No, they are hurting and they are trying to deal with their hurt. You know what I mean? If you can open up and give them another option, another scapegoat, that is not. It's like give them an option. You know what I mean? And so asking like, hey, like, are you okay? Like, what's going on? Like, you were not trying to have fun last night. Like, you were trying to get away from something and hearing, like, because a lot of times they don't even know it. It's subconscious. You know what I mean? I didn't know it for the longest time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I didn't know. I just thought I was doing it to have fun. And when it goes too far, you know something's up. So
Right, man, Seren, are you called to be a leader? Woo. How do you like, and other kids like you walk in such boldness? Because you like get the fact that we're supposed to change the atmosphere when we go in the room.
Right.
We're not supposed to blend.
Right.
I never want to blend. Like I don't actually
Girl,
think.
me neither.
Right. Like I don't actually understand even kids. Like you're saying, like kids just want to fit in. Kids, they sort of all want to be like do what the cool kids are doing. I actually don't get that because if the whole thing about the world that we live in today, like, okay, young people, like, listen to me now. Like, if the whole thing is to be rebellious and to buck the system, and then roll with Jesus. Like, be that kid, because that's being rebellious and bucking the system, right? Who was more rebellious than Jesus? He was radical.
Right.
He was way radically different. And I mean, I'm sorry, like, I would have wanted to know the guy who could walk on water.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not like every other idiot who would fall to the bottom of the lake.
Yeah.
So how are you so bold, and how do you encourage other young people to be bold about their faith?
It's honestly just the affirmation that I've gotten from when I have stepped out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's the same thing with everyone everywhere. You know what I mean? Like it's how you gain trust. You know what I mean? And like learning to trust myself. Mm-hmm. And it's also a struggle learning to trust God. You know what I mean? Like as the past couple episodes we've been talking about, like my dad trusting God and my parents trusting God with me. Right. It's that same thing. You need like that same trust with God. You need that with yourself. So that for me is like seeing like when I have stepped out, the fruit that's come from it.
Right.
That has just kind of conditioned me and fueled me just to not even worry about if it doesn't work out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I see the good fruit that can come from it. And the same thing happens in like street ministry and most ministries comes from like the success comes from stepping out of your comfort zone, and comfort zones are meant to be broken. So
I know. I'm like,
That kid. Whoa. Christina.
like mic drop. Wow, 17?
I know.
Really?
Yeah, I know, Seren. You know, there's this old song. It was big in the feminist movement. Yeah, I said the word feminist because I'm so not at all. I am, but I'm a God girl feminist. There's a difference, right? But I love this song by Helen Reddy, and the lyric went, "Oh yes, I am wise, but it's wisdom born of pain. Yeah. Oh yes, I've paid a price, but look how much I've gained. That's and really if good. I have to, I can do anything. Because I am strong, I am wise, I am woman." Yes. But,
oh, I need to listen to that song.
Yeah. You guys will laugh because it's so old. I mean, I was a
Really?
little girl when it was on. Like, yeah, dinosaur were still roaming the earth, and but the lyrics are so powerful.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Our wisdom really is born of pain.
It's true.
You know, it is. And we've been talking a lot about the different pains you've had and the things you've gone through. Christina, man, when you hear Serenity talking about being bold and taking authority when she's with her friends, just jumping in, but the taking of authority isn't about preaching at them, it's about getting in the relationship. Hey, what are you struggling with? Hey, it's being interested in what they're going through, right? Does this sort of make you think about what you want to impart to Josh and Nikki? Like, how are you raising them to be that kid?
Yeah.
For sure. If anything, it's provoking me. Yeah. Just to like even rethink evangelism or rethink how are you a light. We've talked about this in previous episodes as well, as just showing care and compassion and being curious. We talked about kingdom culture and being curious about different people stepping outside of your comfort zone. And I love this theme because it isn't just for the high schoolers, the kids. It's for everybody. So if anything, I think my kids, they do exactly what I do. I just showed you a video of where me and my daughter were doing a makeup tutorial, and everything she does is because she sees me do it.
Cut to tutorial.
Yeah. It's adorable. You should watch it. Yeah, YouTube.
That is adorable.
But it just makes me think that the greatest way I could teach my kids is to lead by example. Yeah. So everything that you're saying, I want them to see that happening in our home with our friends, people at Walmart, at the grocery store, everywhere we go, to show love and compassion and be inquisitive. Yeah. I think that's a great way to show love and for someone to feel safe. You know, you're saying your friends feel open, because how many people actually listen when you talk to them? I started thinking about that. I was like, no one really listens when I talk, or like no one asks about me. Everyone's so ready to spill out their, I'm not saying everyone, but I've noticed this trend, but it's showing care and the love of Christ, even in just what you're saying. So, yeah, I love it.
It's true.
Good.
It's really true. Do you think that young people need to be willing to step out of their comfort zones a lot more? Also,
Yes.
not just parents?
Yes, 100%. Like, especially in like when you're in school and going to school, you have your daily routine. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you have your people that you talk to, and you have like your people that you sit by. And I get that, and that's normal, and I do that too. Yeah. You know what I mean? But like if an opportunity does come up, you know what I mean? Like it won't come up again. You know what I mean? Like in the same way.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the Lord, he gives us chance after chance after chance after chance. But as time goes on, the fruit diminishes itself. You know what I mean? Because if you don't take that first chance, that's okay. You don't take that. If you continue to not take chances, there's so much, so much trust that could have been built up until that point. You know what I mean? That has just been wasted on our comfort zones and our fear and our self-awareness and our doubting ourselves. You know what I mean? And we need to learn how to trust ourselves and trust God.
Yeah. Do you think that part of a young person's ability to be bold about their faith directly parallels their parents' role modeling of that? Or does it not really?
No. I mean, I think...
Because that's good to know. It's encouraging for people who feel like, wow, I haven't necessarily shown my kids how to do this.
Yeah.
But there's still hope.
Right. But I mean, how many kids, definitely there's a lot of commercials too on TV, like, you're going to end up just like your mom, you're going to end up just like your dad, you know what I mean? And that's it's creating your own faith, you know what I mean? It's that age where you're like, okay, like, I'm done riding the coattails here. Yeah. I want to learn who he is for myself. And I want to
read the Bible for yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not just with a group of people or just with your parents. Yeah. And have your own thoughts, have your own revelations, your own encounters with him.
Yeah.
And like through that connection and that relationship, like you're gonna have different fruit than your parents too. You know what I mean? And like especially with being bold, like you could have like the shyest, most timid, like very like prayerful parents and just be like the biggest powerhouse ever. Like I think you can learn a lot, but I don't think there's a direct correlation with boldness, at least.
I agree. So what about for kids getting ready to go into university? And I think there's a lot of nervousness that comes with,
I'm feeling it.
Yeah. What are you going to do? Because I think this is important for what young people need to do in general and what parents can do to plug in to fellowship systems and groups, when you're out of your parents' care every day.
Yeah, exactly. And because we've been touring a bunch of universities, and so after we finished touring this one college, I was like pretty sure I want to go there, and we were just kind of talking like real talk, like okay, like what are you gonna do when like are you gonna like what club? Like, because there's so many like things I want to join. Like you need to and that's the first thing my dad said is like you need to get plugged in with a good group of people. You know what I mean? And there are so many options for clubs and small groups and church groups, you know what I mean? Like on any campus, secular or Christian. Yeah. And so getting plugged in with those people right away, I feel like is a very practical, smart, and very easy. And it gives you that instant community too. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like having that group and fellowship right away.
Because it's sort of like when in peacetime you prepare for war.
Exactly. Yeah. If you're consistent when it's easy, you'll be consistent when it's hard.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, Roger always says every battle is won before you enter. It's won or lost before you enter it.
Yeah.
Every test, every challenge, every struggle, your decision is made before you enter it, or lost before you enter it. So true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so true. Christina, like for you, I don't know, when I think about, what would be a takeaway from just this conversation in terms of creating, like, how do you create family moments to instill in your kids the family, like a relationship with God,
I mean, like I said before, we've really strived to not put ministry or work before our family, because I found that was really hard, and that because I experienced that in my own life, I started to really resent church, religion. I couldn't see the good of it or the fruit of it, other than it stealing, my parents away from me. So that's something that we've really fought for in my own family with my 2 children, and I have to be careful to not force, like, it's time to worship now, so like stop playing and like start worshiping now. Like, it doesn't work that way,
Right.
But we have tried to set up a daily family routine where family first, we have breakfast, and we're really blessed to be able to work from home, so we can set our own schedule, and we pray together, and we do affirmations together where we declare who we are, and then we worship together, and that means Nikki can spin around and they can go crazy and we'll all dance together, and I think just trying to bring them up in a fun, enjoyable context where it's never, you have to do this now, and this is the way you do it. That's not right.
Yeah.
And letting it be more about freedom and creativity and encountering the God of fun.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what I've been trying, but I haven't gotten that far. My kids are still young, but they seem to love it. And
awesome.
and they'll bring it. My son will be like, Mom, Dad, we haven't done worship time in a while. You know, we're in the schools, we're now in the school year, and we miss a few days, and they want to.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it's just keeping that mindset. Hey, we're doing this together, and it's fun. It's enjoyable.
Encountering the God of fun. Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about a few minutes ago. Like, young people, by the time they're teenagers, they see God as really boring
And mean.
really rules-oriented.
Yeah.
And you know, to keep it real, I was afraid of what lifestyle Christianity looked like, and I was well past my teen years, you know, because I thought, well, do things get serious now?
Yeah.
Do Christians not laugh anymore? Is it okay to dance? Like, I mean, I love, like, I used to always love to dance and laugh and scream and giggle with my friends. And no, it doesn't actually, you can be fun with your, I mean, we have a lot of fun together, you know?
So much fun,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, Christians laugh, they giggle, they dance, they have fun. How would you explain to young people, like, how do you break those perceptions for
Yeah.
young people?
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge, and it changes everything. You know what I mean? Because like fun and adventure are really important, especially to me. And I know to a lot of young people.
Yeah.
It's kind of a priority. But like even when I was little, I remember I would have in my room at night, because I was like believed I had my angels with me at all times. I would have like dance parties, kind of, or like we would like, I would be like a band and I'd be singing and I would pretend that like my angels were like playing instruments and I would just be chilling. And I've always just I've just grown up in that environment that it was like, he wants to have fun, you know what I mean? Especially because my dad is really funny,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So having like just a really like funny guy,
Yeah.
be like, he like loves the Lord so much,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And especially like, I mean, it's very evident when you have like really tight like fellowship and communities. They're probably some of the funnest people that you know. Like you're like you see the fruit of fellowship. You know what I mean? If that fellowship is given to you by God, it's obvious that he has a heart for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think that's an amazing way just to create that environment of like.
Yeah.
I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
We will also dance to like other things, like
Yeah.
you know, dance music, the latest hit. So I mean, it's goofy, it's fun.
Yeah.
We watch World of Dance. I'm like, all right, let's go,
Yeah.
battle it out.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
That's awesome.
because I think, and for all of you watching, you know, understand that it's almost like it starts to get uncomfortable talking about anything that the world watches, you know, and it's like, wait, we're in the world. We're not of the world. We need to be the light that shines in the darkness. We need to be the one that has no fear, because there is no fear with the perfect God who perfectly loves us. We need to be the ones who take control of the room and the atmosphere. We need to be bold about our faith, because not being bold to preach at people, but being bold to love people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being bold to ask them, hey, what's going on with your day? Hey, I feel like God said this to my heart about you. Everybody wants to encounter the power of love.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Jesus is the greatest force for love that I know. I mean, I've banked my life on it,
Yeah.
you know, as you have. You know, I think you've made that choice for yourself now.
Yeah.
You know, it's not your parents' choice anymore. It's your choice, you
Right.
know? And I know that you have. So it's, I guess, kind of as, you know, as we start getting down to the end of this, what's the greatest, Seren, what's the greatest takeaway or giveaway that you would want to give to people from all of this conversation the last few weeks?
Boy, it's been a lot. I think communication, openness, for sure, like learning to trust yourself, learning to trust God in all your decisions, and openness and like honesty, and starting those conversations that need to be started. You know what I mean?
Right.
Whether it's with your friends or your parents or your child or your spouse or anyone, you know what I mean? And creating that safe space in the home, and
Yeah.
I mean, all of it, really. It's
All of it.
It's been a lot, but yeah, there's so many nuggets.
And it's funny, I hear you, the word openness, I think for a lot of people watching gets to be scary. But I'm going to remind you of something a rabbi friend actually shared, and it was shared with me. And he said, we live in a world where people equate openness with being so open their brains have fallen out of their head. That's not the kind of openness we're talking about, right? We're open, but we have to be open to talking about the real things that we really go through as Christians.
Yeah.
So, Christina, what would be the great takeaway for you? And then, what's the 5-second takeaway?
The 5-second takeaway. I loved, as a parent, creating safety. I'm the safe place, okay? You know you're not going to be judged. I've got your back. Just talk to me. And I think that was a big takeaway for me. And then also
Huge.
trusting the Lord, knowing that He loves my kids way more than I could ever.
Right.
And yeah, that's it. I'm like, it's simple for me.
Yeah. So the reason why I wanted to kind of, get like the quick takeaways is because happening right now is something very special actually on the sessions. One of the things I'm really big in is when you're in relationship with your kids, you begin to really reach inside and you get to understand their dreams and their talents. And I think so many parents spend so much time telling their kids what they should do instead of watching what God has gifted them to do. And so that said, I found out that my godchild over here is a really gifted and talented singer. And so I'm just gonna take it upon myself to call that forth out of you because I wanna bless it. And Christina's gonna assist in blessing it as you bless all of us with your beautiful voice, Serenity. And man, it's just really cool to think that Darren Wilson, this incredible filmmaker and brother in Christ friend of mine, has this incredibly gifted daughter whose mom's flair and creativity has touched her in a special way, as has her dad's. So making her singing debut right here on
So
Sessions.
exciting.
It's Serenity Wilson. And I think you've chosen a song that I actually think is really perfect for what we've been talking about the last
Yeah,
few
I
weeks.
think so too.
It is.
Yeah. So there may be a mic behind your pillow, kind of set you up. If you would just sing us out,
Yeah.
we love you guys.
Of course.
And oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. And I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. It's me, Cynthia Garrett. I hope you're enjoying the sessions. And I just wanted to encourage you to pick up a copy of Prodigal Daughter, A Journey Home to Identity. It's my testimony. And I always say that we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. Our testimonies are our story of what God has done in our life. So I hope that you'll share this journey with me through my book and through the many lessons that God taught me through sexual abuse, rape, cancer, being a single mom, and dealing with all kinds of issues just like every one of you has dealt with. Prodigal Daughter. I hope you'll pick up your copy today.